Cheers, everyone. Cheers.
All right,
Cheers.
I'm going to go ahead and start.
It's that one song. Wait till you see my.
I've been collecting cottage cheese in my.
Oh,
Horrible. 100% horrible.
I'm just going to wait you.
Like your armpit schmegma.
The worst thing ever.
Fry it in butter.
How do I mute everyone?
I can't believe it's
There we
not
go.
butter.
Oh,
Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits here at the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Hey everyone, this is Liza, and boy, we've had a great day in the garage. You know how, for me, a great way to tell it was a good day is by how far up my arms the dirt goes when I have to go in and clean up. And this went all the way up to the elbows today. That is a good day. With me in the Zoom meeting, we've got Mycah.
hey,
And Charley.
Fish pillows.
All right. And of course, we've got Elaine, Trouser Bandit. It's Miss Emma. No, you're still muted. You have to unmute. Yeah, you have to unmute.
See, this is what happens when the host mutes you. It's not easy. I've got to say, I mean, one of the advantages of being on Zoom is we get to see people at home. And Charley and Mycah are the picture of domestic bliss.
I'm even embroidering.
What's that?
I'm even embroidering currently.
You are embroidering on his jeans.
And coming to us from the safety of his kitchen, it's Knock.
What's up, dickheads?
Dude, how soul food I cooked for you the other night.
Oh, real quick announcement. Congratulations to Megan, Mean Megan. She just had a goddamn baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
A
congrats.
chunker of a baby. Yeah, 8 pounds, 7 ounces, 20 inches long.
Wow.
Elliot, forgot his middle name, Elliot Hans.
Elliot,
Yeah,
Congratulations,
I
Megan.
I
Daniel.
was going to ask if it was a boy baby or
There
a
you go.
girl baby. So it's a boy baby.
Yep.
Yep. I
He's a
can't
cute
believe
little
it
button.
waited the entire pregnancy before finding out the gender. That's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Just crazy talk.
Crazy.
Also with us, wearing his hot pink shirt again tonight, it is Naked Jim.
Hey, hey, hey. Only love can drive out hate, son.
Wise words, Jim.
And a strong uppercut.
And a fucking kiss the uppercut, Nazi.
Yeah.
And lastly, only a brave redhead would wear an orange shirt. It's Bagel.
I can't believe it's knock butter.
Wow. How many years did it take for that one to come up?
That's disgusting, man.
Right up top of my head.
Oh, wow.
That's just remarkable.
Wow.
Couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Truly.
I feel like I need to copyright that or something.
So,
You make actual butter and
Yeah.
did that.
hey, you know, we've given away all of the Evel Knievel toys. I hope people are out there playing with them, and I know a lot of people bought theirs too. I want to see videos, man. Send me your videos.
Yeah, videos.
Yeah.
Your gnarly jumps.
I'm kind of disappointed.
I was going to say, I went to a party yesterday, and I took Evel Knievel with me to the party. We had some fun with him.
Nice.
I'm really surprised and kind of disappointed that Cleveland Moto has not got an Evel Knievel video going yet. I keep expecting them to come heavy with Evel.
We're calling you out. I mean,
Well, no,
because Sleepy's got the drones.
Yeah. No, they're legit motorcyclists, so they don't have time for toys.
I did want to share, though, because I found some on eBay, and this is a public service announcement, a warning, whatever you want to say. But I found on eBay the California Creations 2020 release of the EK Stunt Cycle, the one we're giving away. Knock, do you see how much they're charging for that?
$230.
What?
$230, or it's
Damn.
$45 directly from the company,
Wow.
cacreations.com. So I just want to make sure people aren't going on to eBay and falling for that. It said 4 sold already.
Jeez. Yeah, don't get ripped off. That's probably the one with the bad flywheel weights, too.
Probably.
No, it's the brand new one. So yeah, so watch out for that. And also in other news, I got my my new brake light for my helmet.
Break
you're
free.
break free?
Yeah.
Yeah, brake free. They've been
Nice.
shipping theirs out. Emma, did you get yours yet?
I haven't got mine yet, and I'm expecting it any day. So,
It will be coming.
I
yeah,
have
if I
mine
don't get it by the end of the week, I'll be yelling at Alex.
Is this the final build? Did they?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So is this different than the prototype you'd been wearing?
Everything's exactly the same, but the switch that I had so much trouble with, that's a push
Yeah.
button switch. This one got fixed, so it's a little bit easier. I think
good.
we just used
Size,
the
same weight.
switch in there. But other than that, everything looks, the model that I had that I was testing is pretty much the final thing. So
Cool.
now I have an extra one. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. We'll see.
Yeah.
See. But I just a reminder, everyone, that Break Free Tech, go check it out. Get one of those. They are good stuff. And then another announcement. Emma and I, we're doing a thing. If you haven't seen it yet. Emma, I'm thinking of changing the name. We're only one episode in. I hope it's not too late to change the name.
No, change away, darling. I think people are more interested in the content than the name.
So we were calling it Misfits and Motorcycles, but now I think we're just going to be the Misfits. What do you think of that, Emma?
Well, neither of us are misses, neither of us are fit, so I think it's appropriate.
Yes. So I think we'll just be the Misfits rather than Misfits and Motorcycles.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it-
so.
Yes, Knock.
Is this going to be like the Prince thing where it's like the two chicks formerly known as the Misfits artists like, situation?
Okay.
And do you
talking
get to
about-
wear? Do you get matching satin jackets like
Yes!
jackets too?
Ah, that'd be so good.
So if we go down the Prince route, I have to choose a symbol that
Exactly.
represents me.
Yeah. There you go.
Pearls.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I
Ratchet.
wonder. I think it looks suspiciously like a bottle of gin, with like a genie coming out of it, and I'm the genie coming out of the bottle of gin. Probably
Like a
sipping on
pine
my
cone or something.
Yeah, a pine cone. There you go.
I think my
Perfect.
symbol's going to be that that sign they have for no dogs peeing. That one, you know. I think that would be cool.
Don't pee on me.
Yeah, I know. So, so Anna and I, the Misfits, we started making videos. If you haven't checked it out, last week we released the first one called "Dude, Where'd My Oil Go?"
Mm-hmm.
And it explains in detail where's your oil going. If you have a bike that's burning oil, where is it going, and is it a problem?
I thought
Very
it was a great
detailed.
video. It was very educational and easy to understand. It
Right,
was one of the most easy to understand explanations I've ever seen.
and that's the point I want to make about these videos. If you are looking for a step-by-step instructional video on how to dismantle your bike, this ain't it.
Mm-mm.
But what it is a overview of what can be complex systems on motorcycles, and just a basic overview presented in such a way that it's easy to understand. Hopefully.
And
Yes.
how much is the subscription to this?
It's on YouTube. It's free.
It's free.
It's
How
free.
cool is that?
It's
More
free
high
shit.
value for money.
So we have a new one that we're going to be releasing. The only problem is, we've only recorded 2. We're going to have to find the time to record. Thanks to Bagel and John for helping us on this last shoot, and for Jim for helping us on the first shoot. Already we've got good crew members. So everyone is learning. We're getting
Cool,
better.
cool.
But the new one I'll be releasing. I don't know. Should I put it up tonight or should I wait till like?
Yeah, put it up tonight. You might as well.
Do it.
You know, check it out.
Do it.
It's 18 minutes of your time.
And this one is called The Shocker.
18 minutes, huh? Goddamn.
2 in the pink, 1 in the carburetor.
Oh my God, that needs to be a T-shirt. 2 in the pink, 1 in the carburetor. Oh, I love that. This is how we fix our carbs. We diddle our carbs.
So, back to the subject of motorcycling.
Yes.
So we pulled apart a vintage shock absorber, broke it down into its components, and explained what each bit does. And then for those of you who ride motorcycles that are a bit younger than 50 years old, we provided examples of slightly more modern shock absorbers too, and explained our way through them.
Mm-hmm.
It was
That's
lots
awesome.
of fun.
Yeah, put it up tonight. I want to watch it.
I know. It's just we don't have another one to release right after that, so I was trying to space them out. But we'll get it up there, and so please check out those videos. It's on the Recycle Santa Cruz on YouTube page. So if you subscribe to Recycle Santa Cruz, you'll get that and anything that we're doing here in the garage. I wanted to talk to Mycah for a bit. Mycah, I mean, you've been coming on the show now off and on for how many years?
Oh, let's see.
15.
No, I started writing 4 years ago, so about since then.
Holy shit. It's been 4 years?
It's been
Yeah, 4.5 years.
and
God
it's
damn,
fun.
dude.
It's fun because you've shared your story of being a passenger, and trusting your, Charley, trusting him as the rider.
No, I wouldn't trust you.
I didn't trust you. That's why I pulled her off your bike that time. To getting your own bike, learning how to wrench on your own bike, getting another bike, getting track experience, like continuing to get more and more education, doing a dirt day, and just the path that you've been on the last few years of becoming a better rider. And now it's hitting a new point. You want to talk about what you're doing now?
Absolutely. So I'm in the process of becoming a California motorcycle safety instructor,
What?
Nice.
Brad.
Awesome.
which will be super, super fun. I have a little bit of instructional experience from first rides, and as soon as I did my first rides course, I started looking up how to become a CMSP instructor.
Rad.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
let's delve into Mycah. What really motivated you to want to do this? Do you feel that when you were starting off, you got sufficient instruction, or did you think your instruction was a little bit lacking, which is why you wanted to get involved?
So I actually took the CMSP course to start my writing career. And that was instructional, but I didn't get quite as much out of it as I would have if I took it again, just because I was at that point didn't know anything about motorcycles and was still deciding if I was interested in motorcycles.
Right.
And so coming from that, I didn't get quite as much as I would have liked to out of that course. I very quickly after I started writing, I took the Z2 Road Rider course, which I have spoken about on this podcast at length.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I will always talk about how amazing that course is. And that's the course that really made me enjoy writing. And so I think that between all the courses that I've taken, that has really changed, that has really affected how I ride and really made me a better rider and really made me enjoy riding a lot more. The experience that made me really decide that I wanted to be an instructor was during our first rides official course. There was a young girl, or maybe it was our second. There's a young girl who arrived a little bit late, and so I took her aside and gave her the rundown of everything that we'd been doing so far, and started to get her on a bike. And it took me about an hour and a half to actually get her on the bike and to be able to go. And she was so terrified. She had had an experience in which she had someone had tried to teach her how to ride, and she had whiskey throttled and crashed, and just so terrified of riding. And finally, after 500,000 bathroom and water breaks, I convinced her to pull the throttle a little bit, let out the clutch a little bit, and she went 20 feet. And I was like, how was that? And she said, hey, can I still go to the bathroom, but I want to do it again afterwards. I was like, yes! So that experience right there, I was like, I need to do this. This is my calling. This is something that I want to do for the rest of my life.
So you got your like.
Hold on, I need to yell at Charley for a second. Charley, can you please stop fidgeting with things that are on the same desk as the computer audio? Everything you're doing is coming through.
I think
Go sit in the corner with your pillow, your fish pillow.
Asking Charley not to fidget is an extremely tall order.
It's like asking Emma not to fidget. Please continue.
Yeah, that was about the end of that story.
No, that's okay. So, how are you going to apply what you've learned with Antonio? So we'll just run through the key players in this aside from you. They've all been on the show. Pacific Motorcycle Training is run by Craig. He's been on the show many times, great guy, runs a tight ship. Z2 Training is Antonio. Once again, he does a really, really great course. So here's the players. So how are you going to apply what you've learned to your students? Or do you have a really fixed curriculum?
Well, and don't forget first rides also.
And first rides with Clay, of course.
Absolutely. So with the Total Control course, which is the California Motorcycle Safety course, it's a pretty fixed course. And I'm still in the process of becoming an instructor. I've done everything up to I need to take the official instructor course, which is the last and final step, which I will be doing in August. I finally, with all the craziness with the pandemic going on, I finally got a date back that I'm able to do because my last one was canceled due to the virus. And so it's pretty fixed for the most part. There is a little bit of wiggle room for how you explain topics. I think that one of my greatest learning points, and thus will be one of my big teaching points, is focusing on vision. Vision in writing, it's something that I'm constantly learning. And something that I'm constantly teaching myself and teaching students when working in first rides, just looking where you're going. It's such a simple thing, but I constantly am reminding myself and constantly am trying to do more looking exercises, because I think that's something that every motorcyclist can benefit from, is doing more.
Yeah, and just the other week when I had John Dalton out there on the dirt, and it's so funny. It's somebody who knows how to ride on the street, knows where to look, and then you put him on dirt, and he goes right back to just looking in front of the front tire.
Absolutely. Yeah. As soon as
it's
it's
like
on the bike, yeah. Even
nope.
today, we were fucking around in the parking lot on Liza's mini bike, and we were just doing some gymkhana exercises and stuff with some cones that I bought. And Jeremy was, as soon as I set him on a new exercise, was immediately looking down at the ground. I was like, man, you are a better motorcyclist than this. Look where you want to go. Keep your chin up more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a really good point, because you have people who are experienced track riders who run a fast pace. A lot of the times they can go faster by just adjusting the way they look at the corner exits or the way they view the road. And I think it's something you have to constantly practice. You just don't get it, unless you're MotoGP level type shit. So
it's really easy to look just right in front of you and at things you're not supposed to, and all of a sudden you're hitting a tree.
And it's really easy once you start looking where you want to go. Your body does most of the work for you. Motorcycling is so much of looking, and I don't think that is for my first course. I don't think my instructor taught me quite as much about that and didn't put quite as much of an emphasis, and that's something that I really want to do when I'm teaching.
And
Yeah.
it's not really emphasized that much in the very beginning courses. It's usually more of an advanced thing where even though it's super vital, and like they'll tell you like, oh, the most common crash is target fixation, but they won't really go into like, oh, drills of practice or whatever.
But studying the curriculum has changed a little bit since I took the course and since Charley took the course before me, and I think that has been dealt with and looking is brought up more in the course already. So that's a big change.
The course I took was completely different too. So
Right. So my question to you, Mycah, you've been riding now for 3 years?
4.5.
4.5. Good Lord. Time just does move quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They grow up so fast.
It does. Yeah, we've watched her grow up before our eyes. I know it's a stupid question. I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you recommend becoming an instructor to anyone else?
I think that learning to teaches you a lot about what you don't know. I've been working on a bunch of first ride stuff, and recently that has taught me that I don't know how to explain things exactly as simple as I should. I'm trying to write out a bunch of things. Just part of it is just for my own notes for how I should be teaching better, and just writing down how to kickstart a motorcycle is incredibly difficult without showing people stuff. So changing my language and working on how I can better simplify things and make people understand better is a difficult task. But
I think you need to yell more. I think guys respond to a woman yelling at them.
And getting very red in your face and waving your arms about above your head is always effective.
God, you're being such a man.
Yes.
That's how you get the men to listen. The women, you just speak calmly to, and they'll nod and go, "Okay." And they'll
Yeah,
listen.
And you're like,
Like,
man, you
the
nailed
men,
it. Good job.
you need to just sit there and yell at them.
Well, that's actually, I was speaking to a friend of mine who instructs, and he was saying that my biggest weakness will probably be that I am a small woman. And that'll probably be a struggle to have some people take my word from the beginning.
And if you have one boob jiggle, you've lost them.
So that's when you like roll into the class and do like a 30-foot rolling stoppie, and they'll go, "Oh, okay.
Well,
I better fucking listen to her."
Do that like flip transition to the back there.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn that around, Mycah, because I think that's going to be your greatest strength.
Yeah.
By far.
You're going to underestimate you, and
it's going to be your greatest strength. And I think without saying a word, you're going to be such an inspiration and such a role model for men and women doing that course.
I really hope so. Bringing women into the motorcycle community is a huge love of mine. I have friends every so often. Someone will ask me how they get into motorcycling. I'm actually meeting with a friend this week to talk about how to get her into riding. And it's one of my favorite questions to be asked is, how do I start riding? And bringing more women in is just so important. I love that. I appreciate being part of doing that.
And there's so many different ways to get into riding.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But riding safely, doing a safety course like California motorcycle training. So there are people listening to this who are thinking, I wouldn't mind doing that, both men and women.
Yep.
The whole process for you was slowed down a little bit because, as you pointed out, of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
If we take that out of the equation from walking up to Pacific Motorcycle Training and saying, I want to be an instructor, and getting certification, how long should that have taken?
I think that you can do it within the space of a couple months. I had conflicts that has made this whole process. It's almost going to be I think I started looking into this all in October of last year. Started working at this. So my process in doing this was I started researching it and went online to the Total Control website, or I think it was the Total Control website, and they have a button that's something like become an instructor, and you can just send an email to them, fill out some information, and they will get you in touch with a local group. What's that, Liza?
So I have a question for you. We know that you enjoy taking writer education classes, anything that's available. Are there any classes that you would like to take that you haven't? Because you've done a dirt, you've done track, and then you've done like the Z2, which is further street riding skills. Are there any other classes you would like to take?
Absolutely. Part of my training for CMSP recommends that I take their advanced courses, Advanced 1 and Advanced 2 days, and that's something that I really want to do. I really enjoyed their intermediate training course because they have an intermediate as well after the beginning course. I learned so much through that, and so I want to take the advanced through them. I'd love to do it with Charley, actually. I think that'd be really fun. I think that there's a lot to learn by by going and doing classes with different instructors and different groups. So I haven't done any Rich Oliver stuff, maybe something like that. I think that there's a ton of courses, especially where we are in Northern California. We have such a hubbub of motorcycling, and I would love to talk with different instructors and learn more from different people.
Have you come across any yet that will teach you how to, when you come off a wheelie, to not slide the front wheel out? Are there any that teach you how to do that, right?
I have never done a wheelie, so I couldn't say.
Okay.
That
Don't
is
do it.
I was just asking for a friend.
Don't do it.
incidentally, that course is just step 1. Step 2 is how to put a t-shirt on after that.
Yes. Exactly. So like, I mean, I'd imagine you're like excited about both aspects of it, like the classroom, because I remember like there's a classroom segment of this, right? And then there's the actual field work. I mean, how are you preparing for both of those? Do you know? I mean, have you ever taught like an actual class or?
Absolutely. So I've done I've taken public speaking courses. I've been in speaking since I was a kid. I've done theater and I do poetry stuff regularly. So public speaking isn't a big deal to me. The actual course, the beginning course, has 2 range days and 2 classroom days. I have a ton of materials that I was given by Total Control that I have a big booklet, a big binder of exactly what the classroom is, and I also have access to the presentations online. So I've been practicing those, especially being home all day. I have plenty of time to go over and practice those and see how I would talk through all that, as well as I have some range cards that I can really look through what I'm going to be doing on the range. You also, when you're doing the whole process, you shadow a lot of classes. So I've been shadowing a lot. And then our friend Isaac, of course, teaches actually through the same group that I'm going to be working for, hopefully. And so he and I have met up a couple times and practiced what I need to and really gone over. Pacific Motorcycle Training is the group that I'm hoping to work with. They're over in San Jose, and they've been incredibly supportive of me becoming an instructor and have given me help as much as I've needed it. And I've met with them a couple times to go over stuff that I'm working on.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to like rattle off your qualifications. I know you do poetry slams, and I know that shit's like super
totally, of course.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like I think that's just seems like it's a natural fit for you to like be up on stage when you're doing like poetry slam shit, and now you get to teach people, you know, not to fuck up somehow, you know?
Totally. And I have experience training through First Rides, but coming into training First Rides, I didn't have any real teaching experience other than it's something that I kind of enjoy. And so that was my first official like link to all of this. And I love our First Rides program. I get so much out of doing it. I think that it's fantastic, and it really led me to hopefully eventually I'll get paid for teaching.
Well, I think it's cool because like you get to use your creativity to help people too. You know, like develop your own kind of like way of teaching, or like you said, like trying to explain things like they're 5-year-olds kind of a thing. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Hey, I'm feeling a bit crazy, so I just want to give you all a heads up. I am putting our Zoom meeting live on Facebook right now.
Oh no.
Let's see who joins us.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? All right. I just posted it. We'll see what they want to talk. And going in line with what you're saying, actually next weekend, Jim and I are taking our class that I am very, very scared of. So next weekend, Jim and I are going to be taking Jocelyn Snow's.
I want to take it too.
I didn't even know she had a class. Are you kidding me? That sounds amazing.
It's a 2-day adventure bike training. It's on the course that she built for training the GS Trophy.
Is it?
And women from the last GS Trophy were trained here.
Nice.
So she's been building up this whole training course and doing some private training. I'm very scared.
Mycah
be
is
honest.
seething with jealousy.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. I love Jocelyn Snow. I talk about Jocelyn Snow all the time. When people say that it's harder for women to ride because of height problems with motorcycles, I bring up Jocelyn Snow, and I'm like, nah, look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a lot of stuff, and actually you can go on YouTube and see her course, different parts of it. But there's like
and her Instagram both have videos. And
like 4 telephone poles lying on the ground, lined up that you have to ride across the top of.
That shit's wild, man.
Now, is this only for big adventure bikes?
So far.
Yeah. And then is it like a larger classroom setting, or is it capped at
No, it's not an official thing yet.
Okay.
She hasn't yet announced if this is going to be like a new like academy or school or something. Right now, it's just kind of I think there's maybe going to be 4 of us there. It's just kind of friends. Word
I
of
was
mouth.
going to say, you and Jim are the guinea pigs.
Yeah, she's just trying this out. I mean, she got her certified training, so my guess though is she's establishing her school. But again, she's been training like GS Trophy people there too.
Well, if she wants to train me and Mycah, I mean,
yeah, if she creates an official school, I will be on that roster so fast.
Michael, what bike would you ride?
she could
God,
ride.
I don't
Well,
care.
she could ride my dirt bike.
I'd ride his dirt bike. I'd bring my bike. Fuck it. I'd bring the Grom. Oh my God. Just any bike. I'd
Bring the Grom.
to go to the class. Oh my God.
What would you be willing to pay for that for a 2-day class?
For a 2-day class, oh gosh, probably $500, something like that. Yeah. I mean, if it's a 2-day, all-day class, that's not that off from what other places charge.
Like other places like Rawhide, I think it's a couple grand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's like all kinds of catering and all that shit, right?
Yeah, that's-
Like,
A lot of those classes also
Well-
provide the bikes too.
They provide bikes and they provide sleeping arrangements, don't they? If it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I'm not going to say what she's charging us, but I will say that she's not making money. This is to pay her insurance.
totally.
Yeah.
And it still is 3 digits just to cover the insurance on having people over. So, big
And then
things-
that's also a smaller group too.
yeah. So we'll see if I survive. I'm kind of
Stage 2 of guinea pigs.
Yeah.
no, I think the other GS Trophy people were guinea pigs, but I'm somebody who's not trying to be a top rider
Yeah.
in my class. I'm just somebody like, I just want some more tools. I don't like riding in the dirt. That's the big secret. I got all these dirt bikes and I go dirt biking all the time and I don't like it. Wait,
me too.
who are you talking to? You're
You never
scared?
tell anybody.
Oh, okay. You're smart. Who are you looking at? You keep. It's kind of weird.
I got like some Costco parking lot action. I'm like,
Okay.
what's going on?
Yeah, so the big secret is like I don't actually enjoy riding dirt. Every time I get out there, I'm like, you sliding around, ooh, just waiting for the day I'm gonna stack.
Have you ever taken a real like dirt bike class?
No, so this is why I said, you know what, I'm not gonna make any decisions until I have all the training I can and all the tools I can before I decide if I really like it or not.
But
Oh,
you do like dirt bikes, though. You like it. You totally do. You just don't like fucking stacking. Like everybody doesn't like.
I don't like. It's the risk, man.
That's what I hate about dirt bikes is like getting your ribs bruised. And the first time that you and I went up to fucking Hollister and I fell off, you took me to some fucked up ass rocky
Yeah, I
hill.
remember that.
That shit sucked, dude. I mean, I had a lot of fun, but that shit sucked.
Well, I feel like if you haven't had the proper training, it's really easy just to start reacting to things rather than planning, oh, the bike's can go do this when I do that.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. 100% reacting to everything.
Yeah.
But the point is, and I think this ties in with, what Mike is doing is I want to give myself all the tools I can, not to be the best rider there is, but to be a better rider and to be able to enjoy it more knowing I have those tools. And that is something that I think we can all agree, especially those of us who've been riding for decades. I've never taken other classes. I'm like, I'm a good rider, whatever,
Yeah. Would you say like you want to take the courses to where you could say confidently and say to yourself that I'm competent? Like I'm a competent dirt rider, or I'm a you know what I mean? Because I consider you somebody who's a competent street rider and long distance rider and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Because you've had the experience, obviously.
I'll say that when I ride in the dirt, I'm not going, I got this. I'm going like, yeah. I'm reacting to everything. Like, the front wheels just washed out. Oh, that was not fun. Oh.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of pucker moments, and that's just not exciting and fun for me at my age. But I want to feel like I got this.
Yeah.
Me and Liza last year did a very, very basic entry-level dirt bike course at Honda. And I enjoyed it far more than I thought I would. However, this is where the crossover is. Because after doing that course, it's actually improved my street riding. Well, how is that? If I'm on less than 100% traction, even when I'm navigating around on that RF 900 and it starts moving around underneath me, I'm not like, oh shit, anymore. I'll just counter steer it a little bit and get it back in line.
You start to know how to deal with no or little traction.
Right.
In unexpected ways. Because you're riding a street bike and you have 100% traction, you're ripping through shit, and all of a sudden both tires
you lose traction. Yeah, or whatever, or you hit something that's a little bit loose. And it's rare enough, if you ride strictly street and you lose traction, it's a rare enough occurrence that you can have a spill.
Absolutely.
Whereas doing a little bit of dirt training, and you realize that if your bike's moving around underneath you like it does all the time at dirt, and traction is a luxury when you're riding dirt, then you realize, oh, this is okay, this is normal, and this is how I can cope with it. And you counter steer a little bit, and, wiggle your butt a little bit, and everything goes good again.
I think that every single rider, no matter what stage they're at, can benefit from a training course.
Oh, good Lord, yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that there's, maybe fucking, Rossi could be fine without taking more courses. But I think that up to that point, anyone in the world, any rider and on any bike can learn more and become a better and safer rider by taking training courses.
Well, and the best types of courses to take too are things you've never done before, like flat track. If you've never done flat track, I've never really done flat track, and I would love to take a flat track course, and I feel like that helps immensely.
To echo what you were saying, Mycah, those GP level pros, they flat track off season. They ride dirt off season.
Because it's It's honing their track skills.
Yeah.
Because you don't really notice it, but if you look at footage of the TT and you look at how much those bikes are moving around underneath them, they're fighting for traction.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing's happening on a track, but just to a lesser extent. So if you ride dirt and you can overcome that fear of your bike losing traction.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
of
like,
course.
yeah, you could go to YouTube right now and find MotoGP and watch Casey Stoner slide both front wheels through an apex. Watch Rossi do the same thing. And they do all that. It happens. And you really can't see it all that well unless it's in slow-mo, but it, you know, that flat tracking skill 100% applies to what they're doing, you know? So it's wild.
Bagel, are there any advanced scooter riding classes? Have you ever
Nope.
experienced anything like that?
Never.
Well, perhaps
I've
it's
never-
time
I've never-
to start one.
I know.
I've never experienced a basic scooter riding class. It's just
Yeah.
there's just the MSF.
You
and
twist
stuff, you
and
know?
go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So can you ride a scooter at training, Mycah?
I don't think anyone would say no.
I don't know about that. I know that if you bring your own motorcycle, it has to be under, I think it's under 300 cc or something like that. Something similar.
Yeah.
For the beginning class.
For the beginning course, if you bring your own. And then we have motorcycles for anyone else to ride. Everyone normally rides those ones. I think it's pretty rare that someone brings their own bike to that. I don't know. I think that part of the course, like a significant part of the course is learning how to use the specific motorcycle controls. And that's different than scooters. I mean, scooters are, I don't have a ton of scooter experience, but you don't have the same. Yeah.
So how about
the friction zone in the scooter is happening inside the engine.
And a twist and go, yes.
Yes.
So, Bagel, how about this? If you were to create an advanced scooter riding course, what are 3 things that you would put into that? Let's see if you could get Mycah interested. What are 3 skills or techniques you would put into it?
I got it. How many 36 packs of beer can you shove between your legs?
That's a good one.
How many pizzas can you carry?
These are scooter specific.
Scooter specific. What would be some techniques that you would?
How much hot fried chicken can you take with you?
Because I mean, I've ridden with you, and you can keep up with the big bikes on your scooter. Is that what technique are you using?
I pin the throttle. Geez, wow.
Oh, how about how to get more out of your scooter? Like, because I would think that suspension is a big thing. Like,
yeah, but I mean that's the same with any bike. I mean,
all right.
and scooters really don't have that much in the way of suspension adjustments typically.
All right. One technique. Come on, what's one technique or trick?
One technique. All right. Well, the one technique that I would say is a really good one to study and practice
is it how to replace your engine on the side of the road?
Well, that would be for the advanced class.
Okay.
But for at least for the basic class, I would teach slow riding, because slow riding is one of the things that is much easier to do on a scooter, and it is really good at developing the fine muscle control that you need to keep balanced and keep the scooter in the direction you want it to go. And so and that's not something that typically is practiced in most motorcycle training that I've heard of. But that's something that we like to do at scooter rallies. That's one of the little contests we do, is a slow race and see who can ride the distance of the course slowest without putting foot down.
There you go.
So that's something I think could definitely be incorporated into a training class.
All right, what you got?
I feel like if there is a training class for scooters, it's probably like the non-tangibles, like how to negate traffic or how to like pan and scan, or just like kind of meta techniques on how to survive being a small fish in a big pond with like much bigger fishes, you know?
Perhaps. I mean, I guess that there is maybe some slightly different techniques of paying attention to traffic around you and behind you more, especially if you're on a slower bike.
Yeah.
That's not something you usually need to worry about on a motorcycle so much, but
All
on a
right.
scooter, you know.
All right, Mycah, I'm going to make a serious suggestion here.
All right.
But you should take this with you. I'm going to suggest that you need to have just basic riding skills, advanced riding skills, but do a scooter-only class. Because I think a lot of scooterists ride scooters because they think it's easier. And they're not the type who are going to, like, you're not going to show up on your scooter to a motorcycle class, right? It's just like how they have like all female ride days and you get more women who will come out. If you had an all scooter advanced riding class, that might be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. I would love to have more practice on scooters because honestly, at the moment, scooters terrify me. I would rather be on a big ass motorcycle than a scooter any day.
I think I can clarify that, Mycah. Scooter riders terrify you.
That too.
I can completely understand. I was so scared of scooters for a long time, but because like my roommate had like a little Jazz 50 or something like that, and I felt like I sneezed one time and I almost ran into a parked car.
Liza has occasionally offered me to ride the scooters when I need to get like another bit of oil or some water or whatever.
And Micah's like, no, I'm walking.
Yeah, and I'd rather walk or whatever. I will not take one of those. No way.
All right, we're gonna have to push that point. You're getting on it. Hey, I wanted to bring up some more news. AMA Vintage Days officially announced this week that they are postponing with no date to be determined. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Well, we suspected it was coming.
We did.
Not a surprise.
And I wanted to talk a minute about, all these events and everything's being canceled. When I saw that they announced that it's being postponed with no date announced, some people were very disappointed, said, hey, I would have gone, I wish that they had still had it. And other people, were saying, they just said postpone, not canceled, because they want to keep our money for the tickets, There's a lot of people saying different things. I want to kind of break down and explain behind the scenes what's going on for any of these things, because I experienced it with the film festival. And I don't know if I explained it or not, but when the Santa Cruz Moto Film Festival was booked, deposit on a theater, T-shirts ordered, the whole thing, right? And then this came and we realized, we're probably not going to be able to have it. Meanwhile, people are buying tickets and we're still going forward as if. And I told my partners, hey, I want to refund everyone the tickets and announce ahead of time because I want to show everyone we're being responsible and we're being proactive. And it's not going to be safe for a gathering. And we're going to cancel this. And I was reminded that I can't announce that. Because if I did, that means I canceled it and we would lose the deposit on the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to wait until the city officially extended the date to that weekend. So therefore, it wasn't our fault. We weren't breaking the contract and the theater had to give us a deposit back. Meanwhile, I was feeling kind of shitty because people are like, is this happening or what? I bought a ticket. What's going on, right? The same thing is happening with all these other events. And you got to keep that in mind. Be it AMA Vintage Days, be it Sturgis, be it the Quail, anyone, if they guaranteed for a year, they've had contracts, they've had tent rentals, they've had PA systems, they've had all these things booked, right? And if they just cancel without being forced to cancel, then they're walking away from all these deposits and contracts. So that really sucks, that way it works. So,
Yeah.
they wanted to have it, but they also want to have a responsible event. And I think what they said is, with the restrictions in place, there's no way that we could have the same event that everyone is expecting. Yes, maybe they could have had still the races going on. They were talking about having races, but not having all the other stuff. But then you're going to have a lot of people who are going to show up and be really disappointed because all the things that they love about the event aren't going to be happening, you know, all the get-togethers and all the stuff. And same with like Sturgis. We still don't know if Sturgis Bike Week is going to happen. I mean, real simple yes or no from each of you. Do you think it's will be okay to have an event of that size in August?
Nope.
August?
Hell no.
August.
August?
No.
No.
No way.
Emma, you're quiet. Do you think
Yeah, way too soon. I mean, I didn't want to necessarily jump on the bandwagon.
that's
Well,
just an opinion?
Like,
It's
look
just
what
your opinion.
look what happens the next week with all the protests and everything. Like the numbers of infections are going to go way up.
So, with Sturgis Bike Week, here's what I am predicting. They have to announce on June 14th, so it's coming up. They will announce if it is happening or not. And all of those things I just told you are all in play. So, especially something that size, there's a lot of money at stake. The entire town of Sturgis, and all the outlying areas, they rely on this event every year. This is where most of their income comes. So there's a lot at stake here. So it's a hard decision to make. So first off, I want to say I'm going to support whatever decision they make. I can just choose to attend or not, right?
Yeah.
And everyone can choose to attend or not. But I can tell you that if they do not have it, maybe they're restricted by the local government as to having a gathering or whatever, it's still going to be happening in that there are all these different campgrounds and they each have their own like entertainment and stuff at night. They each have their own like little parties. And a bunch of those campgrounds have already said, oh, we're still going to have it. We're still going to do it.
Mm.
Much like, and Emma, you made this comparison today. They, normally 4th of July weekend
Right.
coming up is the Hollister Rally. And they announced that will not be happening this year either.
It will not be happening. However, and this is important, is Mike Corbin is still going to have his party.
Yeah.
And he's going to rely on the common sense of the people who visit his place regularly to exhibit their own social distancing. He also expects it to probably be about a quarter the size of normal. But he was very, very keen to make sure the people who just showed up on spec had somewhere to go.
Yeah.
I also have heard there's going to be a very, very small gathering as well at the campgrounds going down, the State Fair campgrounds down there going towards Tres Pinos. And that's one of the byproducts of the Hollister Rally. You have the rally itself in downtown Hollister, but all these little gatherings all over. And a lot of those are still going to go ahead, even though the main one's done. So there you go. Tra-la-la.
I heard that, so I've been reading a lot about Babes Ride Out and what their plans are for the rest of the year. And Babes Ride Out has said that they are planning on still having their Babes Ride Out and Babes in the Dirt events. They pushed Babes Ride Out to also in October. So both Babes Ride Out, West Coast, and Babes in the Dirt will be in October, I'm pretty sure. But they will also be limiting ticket sales significantly than last year and encouraging and social distancing, and they are changing their facilities and their rules to better prepare for people to be safe during these trips. So,
And again, I want to circle back. The thing that's hard here is there is no right thing to do. Whatever decision is made to have an event or not have an event, there's going to be a large faction of people who think that you made the wrong decision. There's either going to be people who say this is irresponsible for you to hold an event like this. It's definitely going to spike the corona cases in that area, or have people take it back to their small towns that maybe don't have a flare-up. And then there's going to be the faction of people who are like, you know, how dare you give in to the fear and not have an event? And oh, hey, by the way, how about those of us who aren't at high risk or who have already have it, who want to have a good time? It's a no-win situation.
I feel those people are, one, not epidemiologists, two, don't know what they're talking about.
And you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
That's a
And
very
like-
valid point, Bagel, because no matter where you lie on this, whatever decision you make, there's going to be people who think it's the best decision in the world. There's going to be people who think it's the worst decision in the world. That's the nature of the world we live in. So what's going to happen is going to happen,
Yeah.
and we're going to live with it.
And so I'm just going to say, if there's an event that you look forward to, that you go to, that it does have it or doesn't have it, and you would disagree with that decision, please don't condemn them. Just know that it's a hard decision either way, because people's livelihoods go into it. And in the case of the AMA, and this is something I want to drive home here, this is their largest subscription run of the year for people to join membership. To join the AMA, this is where they get the most renewals and new memberships. This event, it's not just a party for us to have fun, it is for them to keep the lights on. So the first thing I'm going to say is, if you aren't already a member, please join the AMA and give them the support. First thing you can do to help them get through this.
Yeah,
And
for
that
sure.
way, when and if the next event is, they're going to have the means to have that be an awesome event.
Do you know if they're in contacts with other like new media outlets to kind of promote themselves and actually tell that story? Like, yo, we're not having Vintage Days this year because of this. Could you, promote us on your podcast so we get our sponsorship dollars in? And
I'm so distracted by Ian trying to cover his camera. There he is. You're muted, bud. I don't know. I mean, they have their own magazine, which goes out to their members.
Right. That's why I said it's new media. I mean, you got to be in the club to get the magazine, but like there's ever since
we are new media.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Ever since the shutdown happened, how many new podcasts popped up or had an extra time to even, to create a new one? And it might be good to contact those people or have those people contact the AMA and do something.
Right. And I'll say, hey, especially for Sturgis, because again, if you've ever been to Sturgis, not during the rally, the entire downtown is basically closed down businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They open up for Sturgis. These restaurants, bars, everything, they're all built up for this whole industry, not to mention all of the hotels and campgrounds and motels, including my good friend who has a motel in Custer outside that she relies on this too. And
Sure.
So I'm going to say, hey, if they have it and you're not afraid of getting sick, go for it. Go support them, help them out. That's it.
And at the same time, if you are afraid of going to an event that you usually enjoy, try and buy merch from them or from groups that you might have, if you had gone. Try to support those people financially, especially right now, if you can.
Yeah. So Emma, are you going to go to Mike's on 4th of July?
You bet I am. I'll be there.
I think I might. I'm kind of scared, but I think I might go to check it out.
I think part of it too, like I think it needs discussing is too, like there's a lot more people unemployed now.
Yes.
Aside from the actual virus and having some kind of trepidation about, exposing yourself into a giant vector area, like some people can no longer afford to go. Like
absolutely,
it sucks, like, they can't afford that extra $10 a month to join whatever club or buy that T-shirt. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, think of all the bandana and sunglass guys who've been out of business because of all the rallies
Yeah.
being down. Yeah, I think I want to go out there too and just check it out, because one of my concerns is, how are people going to have events and be responsible and
Right.
figure this out? I want to go see how it's going down, because either I'm going to go, hey, this is pretty chill. Everyone is being cool. Everyone's being safe. Everyone's wearing masks. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable, and maybe maybe I'm ready to start going to some more events and things. Or maybe I'm going to go like, oh, dude, this scene is not cool. I'm getting out of here. Like, everyone's like coughing on each other and licking each other's feet, and like, no, I'm out of here.
Passing joints to each
Oh,
other.
I'm sorry. I was getting that confused with Emma's Tea Party, but you know what I mean.
No.
Sports worship.
Anyway, so that's the news. AMA Vintage Days officially postponed. No date announced.
Yeah.
But that is my plea. Please join the AMA and give them some support. Hey, Ian, what are you up to?
Oh, can you hear me? No.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
up, dude?
Hey!
Don't? No.
You're a little quiet.
Yeah, it's a little quiet.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you just got to turn up your volume if you can.
Yell, just yell.
Yeah, it works for Charley.
Project.
Hey, I have something else I can share. So I think the Sturgis Bike Week is in August, and I mentioned that my film festival had been canceled, and we were planning to do another film festival in Sturgis called the Black Hills Moto Film Festival, and it was supposed to happen during Sturgis Bike Week. So that, however, is not canceled. It is instead going to be online, meaning viewable around the world.
Woohoo! That's awesome.
Yeah. We're still working on it. We'll be announcing it. But I wanted to share, I've been finding some amazing movies. And there's one I saw that just has me like, what? You know, when you find out about another two-wheeled culture that is so unique and bizarre? And I just wanted to share, because you can go find this video too. It is hosted on Vimeo. I didn't check YouTube. Do you mind checking YouTube, Bagel, see if it's there?
Take a look.
It is called Rebel Riders. It's
Is that
about
with a Y?
no, Riders on Vimeo. And Knock, you're gonna like this. It's the Indonesian custom Vespa culture.
It's on YouTube. It's 7 minutes long.
Yeah, 7 minutes long.
Yep. Yeah, it's the
4
one
days.
by Mark Rassang.
Yeah. So Rebel Riders, you guys have to see this if you want to see something that's so trippy. They're taking these scooters and not just sticking mirrors and stuff on them. They're putting multiple axles and truck tires and elongating and crazy stuff. And they're doing it with basic tools and skills. I've seen where they'll take the body and just throw it into a bonfire to burn all the paint off, so then they can weld stuff on with a stick welder, you know?
Yep.
It's really cool and creative what they're doing.
Yeah, it's
Pretty awesome.
total crazy, wild, dirtbag fantasy creation, battle scooter, just nutso things. I mean, they will take scooters and make them look like they're miniature tanks, with 8 wheels on each side rolling down the road. It's nuts.
I know. So as I'm finding some of these really cool videos, ones that are already available out there, we got that in. I'll share them. I want people to go check them out and get excited. This one hasn't been chosen yet. It's not an official selection, so it may or may not get chosen based upon our time constraints. But I wanted people to check it out because it's a cool film, and it's Knox people.
Yeah, Indonesians, man.
That's
It's
right.
Mexican? Oh, I thought it was Mexican.
I know his accent throws me off all the time. So, Ian, what are you up to tonight?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Cleaning rusty carburetors and
Nice.
having fun with that. What else are we doing? Cooking a little bit. We're gonna make some spanakopita. So some bacon.
Nice.
Spanakopita.
Yeah, Danielle, my girlfriend, amazing cook. So I'm the sous chef. So
And, oh, I see. We got Josh Herman. Josh, put your camera on. Don't be a lurker. I know you're there.
Josh is dope, man.
I had to make my big appearance.
Oh!
And of course, Josh has the Porsche version gaming chair going right there. What is that you're sitting
Yep,
on?
yep.
So comfortable.
Oh, Ding Dong Jr.
Easy Master Race!
Then we got, all right, Benjamin.
Yikes.
Who's Benjamin? Come on, show yourself. Let's see.
Is this what we're
Okay,
doing?
come on, turn that camera on.
Benjamin's all motorosexual.
Hey, there he
You
is.
gotta see that run of hair.
I know. Like,
Hey,
I'm almost mullet. I'm almost mulletized.
Dude, please grow a mullet.
Dude, it's there. I'm telling you.
Like, I don't know
Mullet,
any
mullet.
lesbians that have a mullet. I need to see my life
Liza.
before I die, dude.
Liza, you gotta go next level. You gotta rat tail that shit.
Oh,
I
shit.
thought about it
Business
I
in the
thought
front,
about it.
party in the rear.
just to like piss people off.
Okay.
Bring the 80s back.
When we go to South Dakota.
That image physically hurts me.
Well, it's working then.
I just wanted to share. I've just been onto the Rebel Riders website.
Oh yeah, you checked it out?
Yeah, there is a guy riding a tree. Also, there is an extremely soily young lady who looks like she's been rolling around in the mud, who looks quite surly, actually. She looks like she's quite angry. There's a gentleman in a bright red leather studded jacket with the arms torn off, holding an extremely small, cute dog. There is a scooter with a machine gun attached to it. And there's a scooter with more wheels than I actually care to count. I mean, I think it's got about 100 wheels. This is extreme. I love the tree.
That's
No,
great.
the tree is amazing.
And the tree has, okay, so at the end of the tree is the scooter engine, and then behind it, it has about 10 scooter
20.
wheels, or,
Yes.
yeah, all lined up side by side, like a giant roller behind the thing.
That's right, but only a
It's not
single front
rollerblade.
wheel.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's dope. It's pretty dope.
that's totally
No,
different.
it's amazing. Yeah. So you should.
Can you guys share your screen into this video recording?
Quiet, Matt. Show yourself.
No.
but I
Because I don't have it up on my computer.
I can do this.
Hey, quiet Matt, how you doing?
But just do a web search for Rebel Riders, and
Yeah, Rebel Riders.
it's
Look
Or
at my
hum-
Honda hat. She's
Go to YouTube, check
Oh,
out
no.
Rebel
Well, I've got the same
Riders.
Honda hat as Jim is currently wearing.
Hey.
Put it on.
so different.
Well,
So-
it's really different.
Emma,
Put it
Yes,
on.
darling.
other than Japan, have you ever seen a two-wheeled culture as crazy as this one?
Good Lord, no. I mean, it's wonderful. Anything that's this creative, it gets me going. I think we get so used to in our culture of buying new bikes or taking old bikes and almost fetishizing them and turning them into what they were when they were new, but
Mhm.
better. And that's pretty much the only game in town. So Dirtbag comes along, and Paul, love you, Paul. This is something fresh and new.
Right.
And this is Dirtbag just on a wider scale. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
In its own way, as fun as Bosuzuku is, there are quite strict protocols on Bosuzuku.
Mhm.
You know, you have to customize your bikes in quite a strict way. So it's not as free-flowing as you think. This is actually a lot more free-flowing. It's a lot more creative.
Could I interject for a second there, Liza?
Sure. Yeah.
A couple things. If you guys are aware, in Portland, there's something called zoo bombing. And the zoo in Portland is at the very top of a super steep hill. So these guys started a club where they get 12-inch bike tires, like very small children's bikes, and ride them down. They ride them down a very steep hill. It's terrifying, and all types of kids do it. It's a beautiful thing to look up zoo bombing.
I'm going to right now.
In the beginning of Portlandia, you can see their sculpture. They have a sculpture in downtown Portland of a bunch of children's bikes locked together. But the other thing I was going to interject was Black Label Bike Club, which is another bicycle club. I love bicycles a lot. They would weld 2 bike frames on top of each other and ride tall bikes.
Tall bike. Yep.
You guys see that stuff. So that comes out of Minnesota. So as we know, we have all that stuff coming out of Minnesota right now, a lot of energy coming out of Minnesota, and a lot of anarchy has traditionally come out of Minnesota. So those kids up Black Label, they come from that world. Like they're very like crusty. They taught me how to weld. They taught me a lot of cool stuff, those Black Label people. So those are 2 bike cultures, 2-wheel culture that, thank you.
Are they the bike messenger, type?
Very much, yeah, all over bike culture. They do bike jousting, if you're familiar.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, my friend Ryan broke his collarbone doing bike jousting in Oakland.
So maybe mini bike jousting is coming to the garage.
Except we do it with giant dildos.
Yeah, exactly.
We've done it at a rally the last couple years.
Yeah, the jousting thing
on
That's true.
motorcycles? On motorcycles?
scooters.
Oh, cool.
Well, the first year we did it on full size.
Yeah, it's pretty intense and amazing to watch.
Yeah, there's ambulances involved. That's
Not here.
So, yeah, I just went on to the zoo bombing page, and there's a picture of a middle-aged gentleman riding a tiny child's bike, and it may be the angle, but he appears to be riding it at some speed. So, yeah, entertaining.
Oh, this is fucking terrifying, dude. Shit.
And they don't wear clothes. A lot of them are naked. The founder has one less car tattooed on his back. His full back says one less car on it. So they're
Nice.
funny people. They're great people.
Cool.
Hey, Jim, was that a katana?
Did you see that?
Was it a Suzuki katana by any
It
chance?
was the old version.
First
I saw
chance.
the light show.
It's funny you
Light
say
show
that.
again?
It's funny you said because there was a katana discussion at the garage today, Emma. You and Yuri Berrigan, Isle of Man TT fame, were
Yes.
discussing the katanas today. And you walked through all the expensive one and then the cheap ones.
Right. Because, I mean,
What do you think about the katana?
it's metamorphosized from let's go back in history. Let's talk about what the katana is.
History
So-
hole.
The katana is a fighting sword used by the samurai, and it's got a very distinctive curved blade. It's like a rapier, and it's very revered in Japanese culture. So, yeah, if you think of that with the end cut off, so that it's got quite a chunky end on it, that's exactly, yeah, it's kind of like a katana. So, Suzuki in the late 70s had a wonderfully powerful engine which had been developed from the GS1000, and so they had this like 85 horsepower engine. It's a 2-valve engine. They pulled the head off, they put a 4-valve head on it with quite high technology for the time. It was a genuine 110 horsepower engine, and although I was very fond of the styling was a bit pedestrian, so they contracted a German styling house and a
Can I
gentleman.
stop you for a
Hans
second?
Muth.
You
Yes.
said the styling was a bit pedestrian.
Well, on the standard GS1100s, yes.
I love that comment.
So they contracted a German styling house, and a gentleman called Hans Muth designed a completely new bodywork for this bike, and it was like, what the hell? It was angular, and it was short, and it was really space age. I mean, you can imagine Flash Gordon riding one of these things. And they were in production for like 3 years. And very fetishized, very collected from day one. Then it kind of went away, but Suzuki realized they had value in the name. So right around the late 90s, they thought, well, you know, let's come out with a range of sport bikes that are of value for money. and will put the Katana name on it because it's an instantly recognizable name with Suzuki. So then you've got that generation of Katanas. And they were cheap and cheerful and fast. And, you know, they were great bikes in their own day, but they were very much built down to a budget. And they kind of got a bad rap at the time, or an even more bad rap now, because, you know, Gixxers have kind of got a reputation of being a hooligan's bike. Well, if you're broke and you can't afford a Gixxer, you get a Katana. So it's a broke hooligan's bike. Fast forward to last year, and Suzuki thought, well, let's think about the old Katanas and reinvent it. And they came out with a new Katana. My opinion, for what it's worth, it's a horse's ass. The proportions are all wrong. It's nothing. It shouldn't have the Katana name on it. It's a cartoon version of the original Katana.
You don't like it?
I hate it.
Really? It's got the K5 motor in there. That's pretty awesome. I mean, aside from how it looks,
it can have the best motor in the world in it, but the tail is a foot too short. And you can't get away from the fact that the tail of that bike is a foot too short.
If it had pop-up headlights like the old one, would it do anything for you?
Yeah. Well, I forgot about the pop-up headlight one. That was kind of a Katana in everything but the name.
I wish they would have done that on this one.
Mycah didn't know that, and Mycah loves pop-up headlights. We were watching a video, and it showed it, and Mycah was like, oh, my God.
Be still.
Yeah, Suzuki, you know, right around the 1990s, Suzuki were playing with a lot of electric motors. They had the GSX 1100 with the power screen on it, which I think was a first. But, no, I mean, I adore the original Katana.
So I have a question, Emma. Which of the original Katanas was your favorite? Because there were a few different.
The 1000. And the reason it was the 1000 is the 1000 wasn't even really a street bike. It was a homologated race bike.
Right. But those are the fast bikes.
Yeah, the GSX 1000 Katana, it was the fastest of the lot. It's the rarest of the lot. Oh, it's the new man. There's a fabulous Scottish hat you're wearing, Jim. No, there's no question of it. Absolutely the first generation GSX 1000 Katana. It's a wonderful bike.
I have it around here somewhere. I can't find it.
But the new one, the first thing I do with a new one is I try and find a way to fabricate a longer tail on it.
Yeah, it's definitely more. The old one is definitely more proportions, especially with the headlight down. You know.
Right. I mean, the new one, it needs bringing down in the front, bringing up in the rear, and just extending the tail. And it wouldn't take much, but it's a good foot. It's simply too short in the back. It's a parody.
A Katana isn't worth how ugly a Katana is without the pop-up headlight.
How are you going to wave to the other Katanas with pop-up headlights? You aren't.
You know the Elite scooters have pop-up headlights too.
I know. That's the only reason that I've really considered buying a scooter. I love pop-up headlights. Oh my God.
Yeah. The Elite 150.
Every time I see pop-up headlight, I think of like Austin Powers and the meticulously slow dipping mechanism. Yeah.
Anytime I see any car or motorcycle with pop-up headlights, I go, well, there's just another thing to break.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I'll tell you what, that Elite 250 just keeps on giving.
It's such a small detail that is just so exciting. Like, I've never seen a pop-up headlight and been like, oh, cool. I see a pop-up headlight and I'm like, oh my God, dude, do you see it? Like, pop up?
It's like such classic 80s, like, I'm on cocaine engineering, you know? Like, let's fucking design this, guys! You know, like...
Oh, I love it.
I'm pretty sure... I think it was either the Gen 1 Miatas or the Porsche 928 where the headlights spun. So they
it was the Porsche.
they pivoted on their axis, so the car looked like it got pop-up headlights.
Well, the 928 they laid back. The Miata they may have flipped,
No.
I think they spun. They flipped.
That's a sick picture, man.
Or was that the Nissan
It was
240?
the one that came after the 944. There was a Porsche that came after where the headlights are exposed, but they still
Yeah, they kind of jump up and say, "Achtung, do you have your papers?"
Yeah, that's the 928.
Hey, Emma.
Yes, darling.
Did you see who joined us? Watch this. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Ian's there. Hey, Ian.
No, she's muted.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Who are these people?
Now you can do it. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi!
There it is.
Hello, darling.
Hello, nice to see you all.
All the way from tomorrow. Is it tomorrow there? It is.
Yeah, next day. I'm at work right now.
She's
It's
in
one
the
of the
future.
tomorrow people, the future person. In the future, we're all going to be wearing yellow.
That's right.
Still suck.
Sorry, what was that?
Hey, tell us, how are things going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be a better day?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. You know.
Yeah, figures.
So the world's gone to shit, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know about going to shit? Let me just share. I know we're not getting into political stuff at all. However, one of the downsides of living next door to the police station means we've had protests every night with drums a banging every night, helicopters, drones, the whole thing.
Now, do you tend to go to your bed fairly early, Liza, or do you
Not
stay
anymore.
up late?
Define late.
Midnight?
No, I'm like 11.
Oh, okay.
Except I was out there at midnight chasing a drone with my BB gun a couple nights ago.
You probably switch it up to the 12 gauge. They'll know you mean business.
I know.
Miss Emma, could I ask you about Japanese auto racing, which is the
this
exactly, yeah, and like the influence of gambling on that stuff, and just like that, another two-wheel culture that I'm just like fascinated with.
I don't know what's crazier, auto racing or those little speedboat racing. They're both nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you need to understand about the Japanese culture, the best way to describe it, and I want to be clear that having been in the motorcycle industry, I've worked alongside Japanese people all my working life. So anything I say about the culture is said with the deepest respect, but with some degree of understanding. But you can kind of sum it up by the Japanese culture is based on working very hard, but playing very hard. So if you picture somebody who will work at a very conservative institution like a bank from Monday to Friday, and then Friday night go out and get paralytically drunk and be dancing naked on a table, that perfectly sums up the culture.
No, Jim, no!
Oh my God!
Oh, it's gonna happen. Hey,
All you've got to do is mention
Jim, put your clothes back on. My God.
So, in terms of gambling, they take gambling very, very seriously. And, you know, they will bet on the outcome of any kind of race, dog racing, horse racing, but the auto racing with a motorcycle, it's very, very interesting culture, and the bikes have been custom made for this. Now, I don't know whether you've seen that video where you have the auto racing motorcycle against the sport bike and the supermoto and the street bike, and it beats them all.
Wait, has everyone seen this video that we're talking about?
Yes. Yes.
Somebody check on YouTube, see if you can find so we know what it's called. And it's, as she says, it's the guy, and he's dressed like a football player.
Right, because that's what they wear.
And if you haven't seen these bikes, the bars are uneven. Now, when I say uneven, let's say the one, the left hand sits probably like 8 or 12 inches higher than the right hand. Does that sound about right?
Right.
So that when the bike is in a full lean, your bars, your hands are even.
And they've got very, very skinny wheels. I think they've got 21-inch wheels, very skinny tires, front and
It looks
rear.
like he's racing a Schwinn Stingray with a giant motor in it.
500cc twin-cylinder engine, very high state of tune. They're about 60 or 70 horsepower. Very, very lightweight bike. And they can just achieve these crazy angles of lean. And because all the bikes are same, Ian, I don't know whether you were here for my little discussion of both Suzuki culture. Yeah. And as crazy as it is, it's really quite defined. And it's the same with the bikes. Because the bikes, the parameter of building these bikes is so defined, it all comes down to the skill of the rider. And that's why it's such a popular way of betting, because you're presented with 4 bikes that any one of them could win a race easily. So it's down to exactly who is the best rider. So it's all part of the culture.
Oh, that's a great explanation. Thank you. That's amazing.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I found the video, I think. It's
what's it called?
Motorcycle Racing Japan.
I shared it in the chat as well.
What's it
called? Well, there's one called Japan's Crazy Motorcycle Race that I found.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. So why do you think that hasn't found a home here, Emma?
Because of Vegas. You know, I mean, if you've got a gambling habit, why on earth would you not go to Vegas?
I think I know the answer to that question, actually. So are the manufacturers getting into these racing, like MotoGP, so that, I mean, are they doing that to win the races and win money, or are they doing that to sell more bikes?
Yeah, sell more bikes.
Right. So how are you going to sell? What bikes are you going to sell? You can't put these things on the street.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that may be it. I mean, it's just not practical.
Yeah, and I mean, that's long been known by manufacturers that you need to put a little bit of your corporate culture, even in bikes that don't look like their street counterparts. So that's why you get things like Kawasaki lime green or Suzuki yellow, so that you can see the GP bike, and even though it doesn't look like your Katana, it's the corporate color.
Right.
So you can immediately identify it as a Suzuki. Suzuki love yellow with blue graphics. That's their corporate racing colors. Just as Honda is red, Yamaha's blue, and then Kawasaki's lime green. Isn't that funny that they each have their own color spectrum that's very, very different?
Although Yamaha was yellow and black in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, back in the Kenny Roberts days, Yamaha was always yellow with a black checkerboard. But they seem to have kind of defaulted to the cobalt blue now.
I do love the yellow, the Bagel. I agree. That old 70s yellow block look is the Kenny Roberts era.
Emma, what is Triumph's official color?
The color of leaking oil, darling.
What was that discussion you and Emma?
Yeah, British Racing Brown, the color of the
Hey, Liza, what was that discussion you and Emma were having today about British green color?
we were discussing.
Well, Emma, did you make that announcement yet?
No, I didn't.
Why did you make that announcement?
Did I? Oh.
Yeah, you just.
Did I have a premature information?
I don't know.
Well, no, not really, because I need to announce it. I bought a new bike.
Yay!
Oh. Whose airbox did you piss in this time?
No. So, I'm at work. We do a variety of bikes because we're that kind of shop. And in case you forgot, I work at Seaside Superbikes. Yes, that's Seaside Superbikes. If you've got a superbike, you need to go to Seaside Superbikes for all your superbike needs. Seaside Superbikes. So anyway,
I do have a superbike, and I went there, and now it's super again.
Thank you. So to cut a long story short, we had this ancient Triumph in that hadn't been run in 20 years, and I got this thing resurrected, and I was tooling around the neighborhood on it, and I thought, bloody hell, I need an English bike in my life again. And for those of you who followed this podcast for more than a couple of weeks, you will remember that famously not last fall, the fall before, a Triumph Trident tried to kill me. Well, I've decided to buy another one.
Oh?
So I am now the proud owner of a 1971 Triumph T150V.
Nice.
Yes.
What's the V mean?
5-speed.
Oh, not very
Did
fast.
you just make that up?
No, that's what the V stands for.
Like
So you
this?
see, if you ever see like a T120 is a 650 Triumph Twin, and if you put a V after it, that's the Roman numeral for 5. That means it's 5-speed. Before that, it was a 4-speed. So I have, and I did a bit of research on my bike because I knew it was an early bike. It's October 71. It is one of the first week's production of 5-speed bikes.
Was it
Cool.
made on a Friday?
Probably. But I got it for a very, very good price. It's kind of a sad story, but it's kind of a common story. Is an older gentleman had it. He rode it around for a while, 20, 25 years ago, and he decided he wanted to restore it. And so he spent an absolute fortune on new exhaust, new carburetors, absolutely gorgeous paint. Not a color I would have chosen, but just beautiful. Spent a fortune on parts, boxed it all up, and put it at the back of his garage. And 20 years go by. And then now he's moving house, and he needed to get rid of it. And so I got it for a very, very good price. The paint job alone, I'm sure, cost him what I paid for the bike. And the saddest thing is I'm going to get all the paint off and paint it in a color I like. Because,
Hopefully
you know,
purple.
I'm really leaning towards purple.
So how far away is the bike from running?
You know, I mean, truthfully, the major hurdle to stop it running, it needs a wiring harness. And it's not as big a job as people think. I mean, we put a wiring harness on Yuri's Norton Commando in 2 hours today.
Yeah.
I was watching that today. That was fascinating.
Yeah. So it's not a massive job. If I was to put a wiring harness on it, I could probably have it running next weekend. But I'm not going to, because I want to be respectful to the bike. And Jim, you know what my bikes look like. So to get it from where it is to where I want it to be, you know, I'm probably thinking a year.
Yeah, well, between the Guzzi and Tubbo, you know, obviously you pour through every little inch of the bike. So, yeah, in a year, you can do a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it'll give me a chance to accumulate the correct parts, source the correct color for it.
How much is going to be stock parts? How much is going to be shit off Harleys and Gucci's and Triumphs?
This one, I mean, it's going to be like... The way I'm seeing it, I think I can be respectful to the bike by doing like a resto mod. So the color's going to be right. The basic bike's going to be right. But I'm going to update what needs updating. The biggest hurdle with the Triumphs, they always had this very tall, skinny rear wheel, which I hated. So I'm going to put a slightly more conventional size wheel on the back.
Can we throw out a challenge for you?
Yeah, please.
I challenge you to use any part from a Yugo on this bike.
Or a Citroen.
Or a Lada.
You're on.
She just went through all
Maybe
the
a
parts on a
piston.
Yugo and went, I can use that
There's gonna be
clip
some-
behind the headlight.
Yeah, brakes.
Yes.
Now, where are you going to find a Yugo part?
Oh, I can find anything. I'll tell you a good Yugo story. So years and years ago, back when I had a little more money than I do now, I had a wonderful contraption called a Jensen Interceptor. And a Jensen Interceptor is it's a British car with a bloody great American engine in it. And they came like that stock. So you imagine kind of like, does everyone remember what the Avanti looked like? It was kind of like a coupe, but it had this big Chrysler V8 engine in it. And it had electric fans to cool the radiator. And Jensen hadn't listed fans for years, so you couldn't get them anywhere. And I found out that they were exactly the same as in a Yugo. So I went down the local wrecking yard and pulled 2 fans out of 2 different Yugos, put them in, they were perfect.
Nice.
So, obviously Yugo and Jensen source their fans from the same corner of a Lucas warehouse. So you can do anything. But if that is a genuine challenge, I will put apart from a Yugo whatever car you mention.
Yes.
Did you get my text, Liza?
No.
I can only hope it's a turbo, Emma.
No, I mean...
Hey, so, Emma, hey, how was it? So, Yuri had his, 70, 71 Norton. He had the wiring harness in. He just didn't know what to connect to what, huh?
Well, wiring... A lot of people draw a blank with wiring. And it can be a bit intimidating, but you've just got to kind of think it through, lay and figure out where the components are on the bike and lay the harness on. Actually getting it to lay on the bike properly is step one. And every single bike, whether it's Japanese, English, Italian, it doesn't matter where, it has a correct routing for the harness. And so my advice is that if you're going to do this job at home, take a few pictures of your bike first. Knock?
There you go.
No, I'm talking to Liza, the chat room on the fucking thing.
I know. I'm just responding to you on my phone.
You send a dick pic?
Yes, it's a giant hog.
I didn't get to see it. No,
do you
pun intended.
go ahead?
Oh, no, are we wrapping up? Has it been 2 hours? Or are we going to keep going on here?
It has not been 2 hours. I still have the
really?
email to read.
Oh, okay. Well, I
take a shit.
I got to bounce.
An announcement to make?
Yeah, I just want to say condolences to our buddy Phil at Cleveland Moto, who recently lost his mother.
Yeah, I think that happened today or yesterday.
I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
So our most sincere condolences, Phil.
Yeah,
sorry
thinking
for
of you, buddy.
my dude.
Yeah, we love you, Phil.
Love you, Phil.
Yeah.
I know she was a very old lady, but I saw his post and she was surrounded by family and those who loved her. We should all be so lucky. So we're thinking of you, Phil.
Yeah, rest in peace, Helen Waters.
Sorry to hear that.
Rest in peace.
Much love.
I actually almost lost my mom today.
What?
She lost her biscuits over Charger.
She was about to knock Terry's teeth out. She was going to give Terry a right cross and knock his old ass out.
Electric Terry.
Oh, no.
And then about Charger running around chasing her cats in her yard.
Oh, geez.
And then he was like, hey, Liza, I'm sorry. I got your neighbor so upset. I'm like, that's my mom. He's like, oh, man.
Oh, it's funny. I haven't seen Dusty in 4 months. I got my head underneath your trailer looking for cracks. My ass is up. Is that Jim? I'm like, hey, Dusty. I'm yelling at the guy with the dog. I'm just gonna go yell at him. And she freaking tore off and tore in. Next thing I know, your neighbors are like, hey, Jim, can you do something? Dusty's yelling at Terry. all 85 pounds of her just ripping him a new asshole.
Yeah, I know.
She's brilliant. I love your mom.
It was a sight for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mom is great.
So
if I had to raise you, Liza, I would be like your mom too.
Naki, you got to bump out?
Think so.
You got to go clean the smegma under your arm?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Among other places.
I got to get my Tupperware.
Back to motorcycles.
All right.
I'm very happy about this. I mean, I've said this before. It's as good a time to say it again. And I own a Japanese bike. I own an Italian bike. I love all motorbikes, but my heart's always with British bikes. Always. And it just
Suzuki.
I really love them, but I need a British bike in my life.
That's a
There you go.
proper.
I don't know, Emma. We're both buying 70s bikes right now. We might be starting.
Oh, yeah, your KZ400 should be arriving quite soon.
It is on a truck.
Wow.
Somewhere. I don't know where.
I think the race is on. The race is on. Whose bike's going to be done first?
Oh,
mine will be running because I don't.
Long before mine.
Yeah, because
I don't care about the little details.
Did you keep your KZ outside year round in Boston?
Yeah, I did actually.
That's a fun experience.
Yeah, tell me. But I mean, to go and like wipe all the snow off and then sit down and start riding. Oh yeah, that was a great bike. I enjoyed it. But you know what? I have an email from Mike Olson, and he's also trying to find the right bike. He's been getting different advice from us and from others. He needs some more advice. So let's catch up. You guys might remember he said a few podcasts ago he had a question about his shitty Sportster suspension.
Yes.
Remember that one? He said we had a lot of great advice. Somebody said in response to buy a sport bike to fix his suspension issue.
Well, that's not really that productive, but...
And he heard from someone else to buy another Harley to fix the problem.
That's not productive either.
So he says, I was actually going to go look at a Ducati after listening to your response on my question. And I sent a message to Recycle Santa Cruz Facebook page, which I get, and asking, I remember getting this, I didn't realize it was him, and he was saying, hey, look at this bike, is this a good deal, should I get it? And I said, the response was, yeah, everyone should make the Ducati mistake once in their life, go for it.
That doesn't surprise me at all, by the way.
So it said that made him double guess his decision. He had already had an appointment set up with the seller to check out the bike, but decided to bail on that, but still called him to let him know he wouldn't be coming. Thank you for that.
What kind of Ducati was it? Did he say?
I don't remember which one it was. I think it might have been a 900 SS.
A what? A 900
Might have been
SS?
a 900 SS. I think
That's
like a
not too bad.
98 or something.
Okay.
So he bailed on that bike.
Is that a two valve? That's a two valve, right?
Yeah.
The 900S. Yeah, those
Yeah.
are pretty reliable, from what I understand.
They are. They
keep up
suffer
on maintenance.
from exactly the same problems as any European bike that's got a few years on it suffers from.
Yeah, and so I want to clarify too. The reason I said everyone should make the Ducati mistake, I did myself too, and it wasn't a mistake for me. It was a good bike, and I had a lot of fun with that bike.
Yeah.
But it's like playing a game of hot potato, which is a game you played where it has that bomb, and everyone keeps passing the bomb, and then somebody's holding it when it blows up. That's what's like for a bike like a Ducati. And then I sold it to a friend, and then in his hands, just things started aging out. The slave cylinder,
Right.
like this thing just started aging out, and it was expensive and expensive and expensive.
Can
to
I
repair
share the
these things.
experience of a young man who's left a Ducati with us where I work?
Sure.
Should I remind you where I work?
Oh, please do.
Seaside
It's so wonderful.
Superbikes for all your superbike needs. Yes, that's Seaside Superbikes. Ducati Monster.
Especially the inline four.
Yeah. Ducati Monster 600.
Mm-hmm.
He bought it. He bought it used. It was not a massively expensive bike. I think he paid $3,000 for it.
What year was it?
I'm listening because my nephew bought one for about the same price, and now he just mentioned to me, hey, I think I got to do the valves now. Is that easy?
Right. Well, no, this is far less than that. So he had the bike for about a week, and he lives on quite a steep driveway. So as he was maneuvering the bike out of the driveway, he crashed it quite heavily at very, very low speed. And the side stand lug, which is cast as part of the crankcase halves, snapped off, hold the crankcase halves, and basically his bike's totaled. I got my welder friend down there and I said, look, man, this kid's not got a great deal of money. Can we do this in situ? And he said, absolutely not. You've got to pull the engine, you've got to split the cases. And so by the time you've done the calculations on that, it's simply more than the value of the bike. So having ridden the bike for a week and dropped it at really walking pace in his driveway, now his bike is scrap.
Yeah, and we all drop bikes all the time.
Right.
That's rough.
Yeah,
It's simply a crap piece of design bolting your side stand onto the engine.
that's like the classic Italian quote-unquote character, right? Like, I want to cast this boss right into your fucking...
Well, isn't the engine a frame member?
Yeah,
it's
but
the
there
stress number.
is sufficient frame. There's like a piece of frame coming down the side of the engine, but there's two bolts holding the side stand on. One is on the frame, one is on the engine case.
Oh, I mean, why would you do it any other way?
Well, yes, but you know, so there's that. Conversely, there's a lot of people riding around on 600 Monsters who are having a wonderful time with it.
Yeah.
It's just luck of the draw.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not saying Ducatis are bad bikes. I really enjoyed mine. It's just like with BMWs of a certain age, they will quickly become more cost to repair than they're worth.
Right. And bikes are different now. I'd recommend a 1970s BMW to anyone.
Oh yeah,
because
not a
if you,
90s.
Right, because if you want a bike that is infinitely rebuildable, that is the bike. And you can actually make them oil tight and reliable in a way that you can never do with a 1970s English bike.
Yeah.
So, do you want to know
yes,
what
so,
bike Mike found?
Go on.
So he said he found a 2004 Dyna Superglide fuel-injected model posted on Craigslist. $5,500 with 24,000 miles.
Oh, that's great for a Superglide.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He went to check it out and ended up getting it for $5,200. Woohoo!
Nice.
Great condition. He took it on a ride over the Cuesta grade, where there are 3 spots that on his Sportster sent lightning bolts up his spine, but on the Dyna he could barely feel them. So to whoever said buy another Harley to fix the Sportster suspension problem, thank you. Oh,
Right on.
and for knock, get better. There you go. Thanks, Misfits. You all rock.
Wait, what? What did it say?
Get better, knock.
Oh,
Get better,
thanks.
homie.
Yeah, he's actually been kind to you. So he's in the, I guess he's in the abyss of San
Southern
Luis.
California. Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic.
So
Well,
that's
that's a
how you
result.
fix your Sportster problem is buy another Harley.
And the Superglide has always been my favorite Harley since the 1970s.
And yeah, I mean, I'm glad I gave him that advice. Yeah, go for it. Everyone needs to have a Sportster mistake. I mean, a Ducati mistake. But that's simply what it is. I think anyone who's buying a Ducati, when it's an affordable Ducati, that's what you're going to get in trouble with.
Yeah.
Don't buy an affordable Ducati.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Because
well, you
it's
know,
not.
there's a ton of people out there who watch Craigslist and they'll see ST2s and ST3s and even ST4s come up, and they're like, "Ooh, that's cheap for a Ducati."
Yeah, I
And-
still want an M900, and I mean, like, I'll put the work in on it, but it's like, you know,
Yeah, but that's the one but that's the one to have, Nog, because the M900, especially the carbureted one, is essentially quite a simple bike. I mean, you've got to replace the rubber bands, and that's okay. And the electrics are a bit blimey, but otherwise, it's basically quite a simple bike.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a cheap Ducati, do an M900 or M600. Those are the ones to do it on.
Or I mean, I did love my 95 900 SS. But yeah, it's hard. Got another email.
Yes.
This is somebody also looking for some help. This one is from Rick Flores. He says, I was hoping you could point me in the direction for some...
but Rick Forrest?
Flores.
Oh, Flores.
Yeah, Flores.
Okay.
Hoping you can point me in the direction for some parts I'm having a hard time finding.
Oh.
He has a 1975 Honda QA50.
Easy.
All right, and he says he's in need of a new exhaust pipe and air filter, along with some minor parts here and there. Do you happen to know of any places that I can find the parts for this without breaking the bank?
David Silver.
Or some DIY tips for fixing an exhaust with some holes due to corrosion?
Right, listen.
And I can tell you, I did respond and I said, eBay is still the best place to go.
Sure.
But also, most bikes do have a forum somewhere. And a lot of people who are into these esoteric bikes have a stash or a parts bike, or they know where to get it. They know what, farm in Ohio has a stash of them. So try and find a forum for that. That's really a great place to find hard parts.
There's, of course, Bike Bandit, if he doesn't know about that, which has a lot of expensive but good parts for stuff like that.
Bike Bandit is going to be new parts.
I am on, carry on talking, I'm on the David Silver website right now.
I just want to interject about the last conversation you had and making a Sportster mistake. I think that the Sportster is a perfect motorcycle. It's a beautiful motorcycle pre-2002, 2001, those earlier bikes. And if you threw some 13-inch shocks on the back of it and really raised it up to level out the bike, the line of the bike, and put some knobby tires on it, I want an 883 just like that. The 883 is a beautiful bike. Just putting that out there.
And I think, Ian, that was what I actually said. If you like the Sportster and the only problem is the back suspension, just put some decent shocks on the back.
And it'll cost you $1,000. That's that's the problem.
Right.
So
I mean, that's any suspension.
No, if anyone wants to Google what a stock mid-70s Sportster looks like a 73, 74, 75.
Beautiful.
Just stock Sportster. They're crushingly handsome bikes. And I think at some stage the Sportster's lost its way a little bit.
100%. 100%.
It's become more of a cruiser. And it's not. It was a really good-looking standard back in the day.
It has fallen back on my radar. And I probably will have one someday. Oh my God, the QA50! What a weird
tiny little thing. It's like a little mini bike.
There's the Sportster.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I mean.
Look at that. That's an absolutely lovely bike in every way.
That looks like similar to the one in the Art of the Motorcycle.
That's the very first Sportster.
Yeah, I love that with that solo seat. That's why I said if I buy an old one, I'm going to make it look like that.
Right. Emulate that style.
It has the fork boots on it. It's great. They're great looking.
So I am on. There's a couple of places to get new parts for a QA50. David Silver is one, and he has got quite a few bits and pieces listed. That's silver as in the color, SILVER. And then there's CSMNL. CSMNL. They have everything. The only thing is with those guys, they're in Holland. Obviously, NL is the Nederlander. So the shipping can get up there a little bit. But there are plenty of parts available for it. As far as your exhaust goes, the problem is with exhaust, they tend to rot from the inside out. So if you see a pinhole on the inside, it's probably a bloody great hole on the inside. So I'm not sure what you do with that.
All right. I mean, can you find something of a similar diameter?
Yeah, truthfully. I mean, play around with it. Unless you're entering it in the local Concord Elegance.
Is that like a one inch pipe probably?
Oh, probably smaller than that. Tiny little thing. It'll be like your pinky. Yeah.
So maybe like a moped exhaust.
Yeah, but it's a 4-stroke, so you don't have to worry about doing an expansion chamber or anything like that. Do like a little megaphone on it. And I believe they were black painted and not chrome. So, truthfully, you can always do the orange Julius can and the safety wire.
Yeah.
I prefer the Foster's can.
Good eye, mate.
I think that about wraps up for today. Did anyone have any last announcements they need to make?
Well, I'll just say one thing.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks to Emma helped me out today doing some wiring. I wired some lights into the CRF 250. And what Emma helped me with in a little bit would have taken me like 2 days. So thanks, Emma. I really appreciate your help.
Oh, Tom's with us. Hey, Tom.
Where? Oh, hey. And I'll say thanks to Jim for helping me today and changing out the tires on the trailer, getting it ready for our big trip next month. Well, what?
Nice.
Well, your success motivated me. Like, I was all lazy. You're like, check it out. And I'm like, all right. And then we got one off or one on. I'm like, okay. So I think our trailer is sorted out for South Dakota.
Fantastic. So, who are you getting to run the garage next week?
I was just about to say the next thank you is going to go to Emma for running the show next weekend while I'll be with Jim doing being tortured by Jocelyn.
Hopefully not dying.
Which means that I will be in charge and everyone has to do exactly what I say.
Inoculate with someone else in charge.
I do have one last request. We got a glimpse of a history hole that I would like to request as a Patreon subscriber.
Okay.
I'd like to hear Emma talking about tires and tire mounting. It was fascinating. We were chatting a bit as we were mounting trailer tires today, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm learning so much about tires all of a sudden.
How to mount them.
I think
we talked about vulcanizing glue. And
she got to relive her youth.
Well, yeah, my very first job. My very first job out of school, I was a tire fitter.
Nice.
And the tires that wouldn't fit on the machine because MG midgets and Mini Coopers had tiny, tiny little holes in the middle of the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't fit on our machine, so you had to do them by hand. So I figured out very, very quickly how to fit tires by hand. And, you know, because everyone else was very mean to me because I was the new person on the block, they always made me...
So how many tires do you think you fit by hand during that period of your life?
Oh, a couple of hundred.
Fucking car tires. That's hardcore.
Oh, you know, hey, I've seen, and I can do big rig tires by hand because the technique's the same. You know,
just bigger spoons.
Bigger spoons.
She didn't even use spoons.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did Jeremy ever get his forks on today?
No.
He went on. Okay.
No, but we did an inspection on Jeremy's bike. Just as a recap. Jeremy smashed up his Super Hawk and bent it into a pretzel shape. However, it looks like the forks took the brunt of the impact.
Oh, yeah. The rim was fine.
Yeah, I do want him knock. I want him to put that lower triple tree of yours on it.
You think so? Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah, even if it's not ostensibly bent, when you have that kind of impact, you know, the lower triple really takes it. So here's a Misfits top tip. If you have been involved in a major fork bending accident, even if it looks good, bin the lower triple tree. Put a new one on. Safety first, guys.
Yeah, he'd probably want to get just new steering head bearings while he's at it there too. Because
might as well. They're cheap as chips.
Yeah, I mean, it like a hit like that will probably just fuck those up anyways.
Yeah, right. And Emma, I learned that lesson when I was building my triple, the 79 XS750, and I couldn't get it straight. I replaced the fork tubes. That wasn't it. I replaced the handlebars and the risers. That wasn't it. I finally replaced the lower triple tree, and that was it. And you think that thing is cast, and it doesn't look like it could bend or tweak at all, but it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes in really, really bad cases, the actual stem that goes up through the headstock of your bike will tweak.
Yep.
And now you've got real problems because it'll have a tight spot in it. So, no, that's any bike that's been crashed heavily, you should always replace the lower triple. It's where all the force goes.
Did you inspect the head tube to where the frame meets it? I looked very briefly, didn't see any cracks.
No, it's fine. I mean, the biggest problem he's got is one of the lugs for the fairing just snapped clean off the headstock. But somebody can take that back on. That's easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've made it through another episode of Motorcycles and Misfits, y'all. We did it. Next week, even more stuff to talk about. I hope I don't get injured. I hope I can still do this. No.
Do you have your helicopter
have to pull smegma
I
from
do.
underneath your armpit.
I've got
Oh
all
my
the
God.
insurances.
I'm going to bring the air mattress in the truck in case you have to just lay in the back of the truck on the way home.
Truck. We're riding our bikes down there.
That's true.
I'm already planning if
It'll
I
be
get
fun. I'm
injured,
stoked.
I was just going to put myself across the back seat of your bike, like when you have like a dead person on the back of your horse. Just like throw the carcass across. That's my plan.
It wouldn't be the first time you're a bitch on my bike license, so that's okay. It'll be fun. I'm stoked. We have a good time. I'm really looking forward. Jocelyn's so cool, so conscious. We're going to have a hoot.
And thank you, Mycah, for sharing your story of becoming an instructor. I love this arc that you've been on. I can't wait to see.
Oh, I think it's just tremendous.
I can't wait to start doing it. I will let you guys know how much I enjoy it once I can actually do it.
It's very Star Wars. You get to like do Jedi training and shit.
Yeah, totally. I'm so excited. It's gonna be fun.
Nice. So,
Sherman riding his bicycle.
You know, I believe it's an electric bike, isn't it, Josh? Is that the? Yeah. There you go.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
That's Star Wars.
Okay, that's enough.
That is so cool. Sorry, I'm on my phone. I didn't see that before.
Yeah, he just hit warp speed on that thing.
Right
Hey,
on,
and quick reminder, we got a few more people who signed up as Patreon supporters, and they got a couple more shirts. I'm down to a couple XL and a couple large. So if you want to get one of our free shirts off of for our Patreon supporters, just go to Motorcycles and Misfits on Patreon. And for $5 or more a month, you will get a free shirt sent to you, as long as it's a large or extra large.
Get it.
Exactly. So thank you to all of our Patreon supporters so far. I've been using the money to buy stuff like more camera equipment for the new show, stuff like that. So
Right.
Yeah.
And, thanks to everyone who's joined us on this podcast. I think it's just wonderful.
Yeah, next time we'll let him talk instead of
Somebody's on the East Coast.
Is Benjamin in bed?
Look at Benjamin. I just saw him.
Benjamin.
I just scrolled over. I couldn't see everybody. Aw. I would have spooned Benjamin.
That's funny.
Can he hear
And
me?
I'm pretty sure Tom fell asleep at some point. he looks.
No, Tom's always up.
God. We have
That's the coolest
absolutely the best fans of the podcast.
Tom's in a hammock. Are you in a hammock?
I know. So so far they've all been good. So maybe we'll do this again another time soon. I like dropping the link. It's just kind of fun. And then getting some of our old misfits like Quiet Matt and Josh joining us is cool too.
Hey, it's always good to see you, Quiet Matt. Do you still have the BMW, darling?
I do. It's giving me no trouble. It's great.
Okay, yeah, with the Golf GTI fuel injectors in it.
Nice. So, hey, go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. Check out the website. You'll find all the pictures I put on there. You'll find all of our back episodes all the way down to episode number 1 and some of our favorite episodes. If you haven't already checked out, one of my favorites so far is the greatest interview we've ever done with Gary Davis. There you go. Yeah, keep coming back, and don't forget to go to our YouTube page, Recycle Santa Cruz, and check out the latest videos there. I'm going to go drop the new video on there tonight. So
Listen,
Drop it like it's hot.
Shocker.
Listening to that Gary Davis interview,
Yeah.
and then going back to watch Terminator 2 while listening to the Gary Davis interview, highly recommended experience.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Cool stuff. All right, and Knock, keep getting better.
Thanks.
I'm so glad you can put a shirt on now. That's big stuff.
Yeah. I'm a lot more casual now. It was just formal button-up shirts I was wearing last week.
Yes, Knock, darling. As you become more dexterous, see if you can navigate your way around a shaving instrument. There's a.
No, I know, right? I look like a fucking bum.
You look like a lumberjack, darling.
Yeah, I'm looking for a weed whacker.
I know you look kind of hot, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Texture. It's texture.
All right, let's wrap this up. Thanks, everyone, for listening. This is Liza.
Emma, darling.
This is Doc.
Charley,
Mycah.
Howardian.
he's pointing at you.
Josh, I can't flip my camera around. Oh, Josh.
Jim, are you just refusing? Just flat out refusing?
Are we done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Naked Jim, son.
And we are out of here.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Cool.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us. That was fun.